2024 and we are back and our spotlight is shining brighter than ever. Welcome to Equal IT's Shining the Spotlight series, where we shine the light on incredible initiatives that are working to drive positive change in STEM. This is the very first episode of 2024 and I am so excited to welcome a special guest, the founder and CEO of DEB. Hanna, we'd love for you to introduce yourself, please.
Thank you so much for the kind words. So my name is Hanna. I'm the founder and CEO of DEB. I've co-founded it together with two other women. So we are a female-founded company. Started off in 2020 from like an idea of actually decreasing the thresholds for women into boards. I have been working with boards since I was 23 years old. So we started off really, really early and always kept that as one part of my profession. I think it's super important to actually add in more perspectives into board work, and was lucky to find my two co-founders, or they found me as well. And we had the same passion about it, and we founded the company. With my background, I can also share I've been working with tech innovation, have a tech innovation studio together with one of my co-founders. From DEB, I also worked with some investments, helped e-commerce companies start off early in the e-commerce business, working as a consultant. So I really like to make an impact and work where I can affect people and business in a good way.
So fate brought you and your co-founders together. I'm wondering, how did you find one another?
So I actually spoke on an event, a Hon event in Sweden. It's a part of her online network. And I talked about me being in boards. I think I had 5 board seats right then. And it was one chair position. I had one international seat. And some of the women in that meeting or meetup actually took what I said really close and said that they wanted to discuss it afterwards. And it started a discussion on when they should join boards and when in their career they should look at it. And a lot of them said, oh, I had that on mine, but maybe in the future. And some of the ones saying that was like twice my age. And I was like, oh gosh, you don't need to have these thresholds of being like ended your career to actually join boards. We need to get more women to actually take seats as well. So we need to like change the structures. That's one part of it. Make sure that women can get into boards. But we also need to actually boost women and empower women to get like what we can do with lowering the thresholds. And Sarah was one of the ones on this event. And we took a lunch afterwards and started talking and what kind of thresholds we saw, and decided we need to do something about it. And as I do most of my ventures or almost everything with Emily, and she has been reporting to boards, good and bad, and really are passionate about diversity as well. It was just clear for us to do it together. So that's like the beginning of everything. Start off with a pilot. 16 people joined the first program. The 4th year, we had 51 people in the program, and we've done educations in 3 other cities and helped venture capitalists to actually find board seats and are involved in a lot of board assessments. So it has gone fast, not fast enough, I think, if you ask us, but still fast.
Wow, you have achieved so much already, and we're going to dive into the cohort. We're going to dive into the evolution as well. But Hanna, what does DEB mean?
It's an acronym for Diverse Executive Boards. So we're working with boards and the board work per se. That's one of our keystones. Diversity is another, and also executive, where we are putting in like active, effectful, like working boards, not just sitting back and controlling, but actually working for a more forefront and future-proofed board work.
I absolutely love that. Being on a board could potentially be a new concept for some people, or some people have an interest, but they don't know too much about it. So can you shine a light on the typical roles, the responsibilities, if one was to go on the board?
So some parts of it is the legal reporting stuff to the authorities. That can differ from country to country, but that's one part of it. To set the strategy for the future is a huge part of it as well, to ensure that we are delivering on the strategy as well, and also making sure to get the owner's interest into account and deliver on those parts. And last but not least, to actually appoint the CEO and make sure you have the right person taking care of the operational business for the company. So ensure strategy work, report to authorities, and appoint CEO.
Thanks so much for breaking that down. And you mentioned you've chatted with quite a lot of individuals who said, yeah, I want to be on the board, but not right now. It's not the right time, maybe in the future. What myths can you demystify around being on a board so we can bring more individuals from all walks of life to consider going onto a board?
I love that question. So thank you for that. And I joined the board when I was 23. I did graduated high school. I went to sports in high school, so nothing fancy at all. Not studied since. And I joined in knowing the customer because I had been working with e-commerce when e-commerce was just racing. And from my part, I could join with my perspective. So I knew a lot of business-wise, strategic, like insights from the customer's point of view, something that the current board members did not know at all. And these were like high-level board members as well. So I could add my perspective. So I really want to demystify board members needing to be like complete. But what you are is actually a part of a team that are going to deliver the best as possible. And we need diversity in that team, not saying just by women, men, like people of color. That's of course important, but you need diversify in perspectives. So you need people from different parts of the industry, customers, some sales perhaps. Maybe you need people from different parts of the country and different ages as well. So I think it's super important to actually keep in mind that you're entering the board as a person, you're entering it with your perspectives, and you're going to add in your questions. Even though you might think they are not like the smartest question, you have to ask them to actually just get the conversation going. And like I could join in when I was 23. I had a perfect mentor and support from the company to actually get all the legal parts and all the financial parts in order, because I did not know too much of that. And that's something you really need to have clear. At the same time, I think it's important to have a strategic height in your mindset. And I think that's something you can learn over time, but you can also have in you. And together with that, you need to know that you're not the most important person in the room. It's not your agenda. It's the board, and it's the company's agenda. It's the owner's agenda. That's why you're there. So you're going to do everything for the company's best.
This is the thing, we can hold ourselves back so often. And I guess that with going into a board, it takes a lot of reflective work as well. Being able to self-reflect on what our core strengths are to then understand the areas in which we can add value to a business. So self-reflection is something that trickles into so many of the chats that I have, and really important on this as well. I know today that only 20% of the board representatives of Sweden's organisations are women, and it's a scary statistic. We spoke a little bit about stereotypes and stereotypes holding us back. What else have you seen as some of the main barriers?
So the numbers you said there are 20%, because some of them sees it's higher, because somewhere you can actually see it's almost 40%, but that's when you're looking at listed companies and it's not on total board members. So if you're looking at how many board members we have, 20% of them are women. But if you're looking at the number of seats in the higher level, because there you have regulations and there's transparency, there you actually we are better, to be honest. I think one of the reasons here is old structures. And I think it's two-sided. I think the structure that we have, asking the closest one we know to actually, do you want to be on our board? And requiring previous board like knowledge and experience is also a hinder. Because if I want to have people joining my board that already works in boards, I have 80% men, if I look at statistics, that are board members, and only 20% of them are women. So I think it's like 160,000 men that has worked with boards at 40,000 women. So it's more likely that I find people in my area that are men. So that's one thing. I do also think that we are keeping a responsibility as women, that I think we are putting up like a threshold ourselves, not knowing exactly what we can contribute with. So we need to boost ourselves and others. So like just joining in and saying to someone in your network, you should be on a board. You have so good skills. You're so strategic in your mindset. You would do excellent board work. Why are you not looking at that? Like boost each other and tell them that you think they should join a board. Myself, I'm always, when I'm talking to women that I think has great leadership skills and are potential good board members, I'm not only saying they should be on boards, I'm saying like you might have a career as a chairperson in your future. We'll keep that, because in Sweden, like chairperson is even worse when you look at the statistics. So from the total amount of chairpersons on listed companies, it's 10%. On all companies in Sweden, it's 15%. And that's so sad, because I would say that it could be 50-50, but I love working with female board chairperson. So females are good on that position, by saying, like, helping everyone, get everybody on board. And I think that's a role that more people should look at. And it's also one of the most fun roles in the board. It's leadership. You get to support people. You get to get people going. You get to get the team to actually work in the best way possible. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, we need to boost and empower others, big them up. And of course, this is a learning opportunity coming into a new role like this. But as I say, it's such a sad statistic. But this is where Deb comes into the picture. How are you actively working to overcome these challenges and barriers?
We have a program for women and minorities. So we're working on how to phrase this, but we are potentially open for having underrepresented groups for our program next year. But mainly women right now has joined, or only women right now has joined. And the program is over a full year. So we're electing the people that are joining on the criteria. So it's an interview process. They have to apply. We are interviewing them, making sure they have tangible experience, they have a strategic height, they have a low ego, and also high ambitions. That's like key for us. It's also important that they want to speak about it and talk about it, because we are creating role models. That's our thesis for this. Then we're educating them, 2-day education that we are holding in ourselves. And going from that, we have 7 deep dive sessions, 6 to 7 deep dive sessions in everything from finance and risk to how to perform in an interview, AI for boards, what you need to know, and also not knowing AI. You will not learn AI in 2 hours, but you will know methods how to learn more. You will be interested, and you will also be get comfortable with knowing what you don't know. That's more important than actually having the skill per se, the method of it. And also data-driven work in the boardroom. So we have a fantastic person from Google helping us with that session. And how to future-proof your board. We have a session with a panel going through board challenges next week, which is super exciting. So really making sure to lower all thresholds that we have. And also network effect is super important. And last of all, we are working actively with board assessments and recruitments. So we are reaching out to companies, working with companies, VC firms and so on, to see what kind of needs they have, presenting a good service so they can find our candidates and we can match them for their board assignments.
That is so, so inspiring. You know, Hanna, how I actually found Deb initially was I saw a lot of my friends in Sweden who were joining some of the cohorts and posting about it. And they were just so excited to be a part of such a great community. I know that it goes over a year, the cohort itself, but what is the typical commitment for someone over that year? Is there a certain amount of hours in a week, or how does it look?
So it's a bit different. So we kind of want to keep it as it's not a full-time, it's not a part-time commitment. It's 2 full days and 2 half days, I would say, that you need to commit, and you get the dates beforehand as well. And then you have the 6 other deep dive sessions that are hybrid. So they are easy to take if you are working as well, and it's between 1 and 3 hours. So it should be easy to work with them at the same time as you have a full-time job. And above that, you need to do your CV. We have individual CV coaching with everyone. But to make sure that that actually is valuable, you need to have done the work beforehand as well. Otherwise, it's making sure that you have time for a board assignment and that you have time for search processes and being swift in answering everyone so that the processes doesn't take time, because that's our brand as well. Otherwise, it's depends on the timing of the year, but it's more intense in August, September. Then it's a little bit east during the rest of the autumn, and during the spring, we mostly work with meetups and some knowledge sharing and board assessments and recruitment processes.
You have an interview process to get into the cohort. For folks who are doubting themselves, they really want to do Deb, they really want to embark on this journey of becoming a board member, but they're doubting themselves, the skills, the inner imposters creeping in on the shoulder. What words of wisdom can you give to people so they can best prepare and make the strongest application for Deb?
I would say ask around. That's a good thing. We're actually doing that as a part of the education. But at 360, when we are suggesting people to just ask people in their network what they think is the best thing about them, to get this love boost, because then you will get all these like experiences they have about you. And it's not usually like you're not getting described as the good host of a podcast. You're getting described as an inspiring, energetic person. Like you're giving so much and you're really looking into me and understanding what I mean. Like you get more than just like the skills you have acquired that you usually put on a paper, such like I'm good project manager. But why are you a good project manager? Yeah, because you have methods, you're structured, you are hardworking and everything else. So I would get someone else to get input and also look at the why so you're good at something. So if you say I'm good at this, try to dig deeper into like your skills that can be applied in everything you do, such as like being energetic. I say that because that's what I feel you are, Ellie. So like being energetic and generous, that's something that are shown in everything you're doing. So that's more important than that you're good on hosting podcasts, because that's so narrow. But energetic, positive, generous, that could be applied on every position you're in. So getting those keywords, I think that's good. And it's also really empowering.
Thanks so much, Hanna. That's honestly so kind. I really appreciate that. But I love what you've said there about asking other people, leveraging your network. That is exactly what your network is for. You have a lot of layers to the deep dive sessions. Really great, really important. But how did you come to actually determining these key areas?
Starting off, we only had 4, I think. So like starting off, we had these thresholds that were like, I think we talked about us wanting to be a forefront education. So we had the data-driven, then we had one on, I'm not even sure we had interviews. So we had like 4 of them. And then we got requests from our network saying, oh, couldn't we have a session on how to perform in an interview? And we're like, yeah, why not? Let's do that. And why not have one in finance and risk? Because we have so many questions in that area. And we're like, okay, of course, let's ask people that we know that are also in that area and ask them to join in and share some interest. So that's actually how we started going with this. And AI was the same thing. We had one person that was like, I'm super interested in AI's role in the boardroom for the future. I was like, oh my God, that's me as well. And afterwards, we just got connected and asked people to join in, share knowledge, and people are generous when you ask them. So it has been amazing to get the best people on board helping us to build this together.
It's so refreshing that you've been taking feedback, you've been implementing it and improving and making the cohort and the program as a whole continually better. You're really focused on the people, and that's what I love. You have a really empowering network at Deb, and for anyone that goes into the cohort, they have access to this for life, and it's really down to them what they make of it, what they do with it, but they can hold on to it forever. Tell me a little bit more about that empowering community. We want to hear some success stories.
Some of the success stories is people joining boards, and also I'm really happy when I hear like people from the first cohort getting their like second and third board assignments. That's amazing. We have some of them actually going in and changing career and being empowered to actually start something on their own, which is super nice. People taking CEO roles, not having that before. So like these individual successes that I kind of feel is on our account as well. I'm gonna say that with all the hard work. But also we've had events like oversold events. We have matching events. We have had like just having the longevity in events happening all the time is really a win for me. But also, like, we have big things we actually have big things for next year. We're going to have a board executive summit, an educational day for men and women, everyone. So we need to find even the ones that are not female to this, and gonna host that in a more exclusive venue. Get people actually getting educational content and continuous learning into their board work. So that's one thing we are planning for right now. We're also going to Silicon Valley and San Francisco, doing a delegation of women within board work together with Growth Minds, a fellowship that I'm also working with. And this will be super, super interesting, meeting women that are working with boards, getting learning, and also sharing those learning with our network when we come home. And lastly, we have one big news. I hope I can say the most of it. I can't say which fund yet, but we've currently raised a SPV. Women in our network wanted to invest in a fund, and we actually from Deb's side facilitated that fund, that SPV. SPV stands for Special Purpose Vehicle, which is a company just aimed for one thing, and we are just aimed to go in as a limited partner in a fund. So we are actually lowering the threshold for women to invest in funds as well. And we have 25 women from our network joining in and 2 men. So it's super, super nice. It's going to be launched soon. We closed it before Christmas. And yeah, it's going to be amazing to get that news out as well.
Oh, so we've got some exclusive Deb news there. How exciting. What a year it is going to be. For anyone who wants to become a Debster, when is the next cohort coming up?
We're opening a scholarship application right now. And then we're opening the real application process on March 8th, so International Women's Day. And it's going to be open for 3 to 4 weeks during March, maybe a bit in April as well. So just sign up for our newsletter on our website, and it's joindeb.se right now. And you can also always reach out to me if there is any questions. I'm on LinkedIn, it might be easier, or Hanna at joindeb.se as well. So just reach out. I will try to answer as much as I can. Otherwise, follow us and we will update you as soon as we have more information.
That is great. I will add all of the links, emails, all of that juicy information into the description box below. If you're interested in going for Deb, do not hold yourself back. Go for it. Make that application. It's such a supportive community. You're going to learn so much along the way. Hanna, you truly are an inspiring individual as well. We'd love to know, what change do you want to see in the industry?
I have 2 changes, I would say. One change is to go more for professional board assessments. I think that it would solve a lot of things. If we would look at the board assessments more like professionally, like go through it, I think you would appoint more women just by having that. So that's one thing, like taking that to the next level. The other thing is actually to get board members more into working with things they don't know and more actively working with the companies. And I think that's super, super keen right now to get people going with the trends, get them to work a lot with the news that are out there, things that are coming. And yeah, as AI, all these maybe unknowns, all this like foresight work, I think we need to take that into consideration to ensure that our companies are really, really fit for the future. And if not, that we are pivoting in the right time. So I think that's something that I really think should be all boards' agenda. Of course, together with diversity, but I think those 2 could help with that.
Here's to seeing that change happen. Thank you so much for your time, Hanna. We have loved shining the spotlight on Deb and are very excited to continue following the journey.
Thank you so much for having me.